My boyfriend uninvited me from his sister's wedding so that he could bring his girl best friend, but I'm going anyway. For starters, I love my boyfriend's family. I do not love his girl best friend. My boyfriend's been friends with this girl since childhood, and he admits that for years he was in love with her, but she just kept leading him on. She would flirt with him, say things like, oh, but like, could you ever imagine if we were together? Maybe that would be amazing. Making marriage pacts, things like that. But then she would always get a boyfriend and friend zone him. And this cycle of flirting with him when she was single and acting like they were just friends when she had a boyfriend continued all the way into college until he met me. Now, I've only met his girl best friend a few times because she lives in a different state than us, but every time has been far less than enjoyable. The girl is awful, and she thinks everything between us is a competition. Who knows him best? Who would be a better wife? Who would be a better wife? Like, why? That's so weird. But for some reason, it always comes back to who's closer with his family. And she always talks about how his mom is like a second mom to her, and she just really feels like she's a part of their family. Okay. Cool flex. Like, don't know what to tell you about that one. About a week ago, my boyfriend's sister's wedding invitation came in the mail, and it was addressed to him, but included a +1. Obviously, that +1 was meant for me. Like, we've been dating for years. It was just assumed, or so I thought. Now, the first few days after getting the invitation, he was talking to me about plans, plane flights to go to the wedding, things like that. But after a few days, he stopped mentioning the wedding. And if I brought it up, he would change the subject. So 2 days ago, I get home and my boyfriend's in the bedroom on the phone on speaker with somebody. And I would know that nasally, whiny little voice anywhere. It was his girl best friend. And she was talking about what she should wear to the wedding, which I didn't think was weird. She always talks about how close she is to his family. So obviously she'd be invited, right? So I walk into the bedroom and say hi to his girl best friend on the phone, and he looks startled, which is weird because I've said hi to her on speaker before and he didn't seem to have a problem with it. And I tell her that I look forward to seeing her at the wedding, which is a lie, but I'm nice, okay? I'm trying to be nice. Tell me why this girl says, oh, I'm so glad you got an individual invitation. I was starting to feel a little bad about taking your +1. Taking my +1? Who's taking my +1? So my boyfriend really quickly tells this girl that he has to go. And I'm like, yeah, you better hang up the phone because you have some explaining to do. And I stand there, my arms crossed, and I'm like, okay, what is she talking about? And he tells me that she didn't receive an invitation to the wedding. Shocking, considering how close she says. Like, part of the family. That's what she said. And he said that she called him distraught, saying that it would mean everything to her to go to this wedding and to celebrate with the people that she loved the most. People that you love the most. You didn't get invited to the wedding. So I tell him, I'm like, I think that that's really strange to make your +1 not your girlfriend at your immediate family's wedding. And he was like, you know, they've known her forever. I don't think it'd be that weird. And I was like, well, she didn't get invited, so. And he has the nerve to go, well, neither did you. I'm floored, honestly. The fact that he said that, I was like, yes, I was invited. That +1 was meant for me. I've literally talked to your sister about her wedding multiple times. That +1, just because it didn't have my name on it, did not mean that it wasn't meant for me. And he said, well, you know what? Your name isn't on it. I can choose who I want as my +1, and I'm taking my friend. So I storm out, go to my best friend's place, and proceed to just cry and tell her what happened. Honestly, I was just feeling so embarrassed. I know I shouldn't feel embarrassed, but it's just like, how could he not even want me there? But that is when I got an unexpected call from my boyfriend's sister. She told me that my boyfriend just called her to tell her the situation, and she was livid. She said that clearly the +1 in that invitation was me. She apologized. She was like, you know, I was just trying to save some customization costs, but if I would have known he was going to pull this, I should have just put your name on it. Like, that was clearly intended for you. I am so sorry if it came across that I didn't want you at my wedding or that you weren't invited. You're 100% invited. I want you there. The best part, though, is she starts talking about my boyfriend's girl best friend. And she says, there's absolutely no way I'm letting that little leech at my wedding. My boyfriend's sister goes on to tell me that his entire family despises this girl because she led on my boyfriend for years, is rude, selfish, ungrateful. Every time she was over at their house, she would leave a mess, never clean it up. Basically, she said that she was just not a nice girl. And it was intentional that she didn't get an invitation to the wedding. So even though his girl best friend was saying that, she was like family to that was a lie. They don't talk. She tries to reach out apparently, and they all ignore her. Then she tells me that she has revoked her brother's +1 and will be mailing me my individual invitation. She even told me that even if I make the decision to dump my boyfriend over this, she would still love to have me at the wedding because she feels like I've become part of the family at this point. I'm part of the family. Oh my, how the tables have turned. So I know for a fact that I'm going to be at that wedding. Now, will I be attending with my boyfriend or not? That's to be decided. Let me tell y'all, the wait was worth it because the update I have for you, absolutely insane. If you haven't seen my first video, go watch that and then come back and watch this one. But where we left off is that my boyfriend's sister found out that he was inviting his best girlfriend instead of me. So she revoked his +1 and was sending me my own invitation. First, for the question that everybody's wondering, yes, I dumped him. I'm not gonna sit around and be disrespected like that. Also, I'm the most fun wedding date, so the fact that he didn't want to bring me, it just shows that he has bad judgment, and I can't be dating a man with bad judgment and who disrespects me. And yeah, I sound okay now, but when I broke up with him, I was pretty devastated. I mean, I was with a guy for years, I loved him, and it's a breakup, it's hard. But you know what softened the blow? When I received the invitation for a sister's wedding in the mail. Because not only was it an invitation for me, but it included a +1. By the time she sent me this invitation, I was already broken up with her brother, so she knew what she was doing giving me a +1. Originally, I was thinking about bringing one of my best friends because I know I'm always gonna have a good time with them. But then I thought, you know what? That's not petty enough. You see, something that I have failed to mention about my now ex-boyfriend is that he's a bit of a hypocrite because although he has this best girlfriend, I wasn't allowed to talk to my best guy friend. My best guy friend has been my friend since childhood, and we were super close family friends. Literally, there's never been anything romantic between the two of us, but my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, was incredibly jealous. And he did not like that we would FaceTime, talk on the phone, so he told me that I couldn't talk to him anymore. And thinking back now, honestly, I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't end the relationship then and that I didn't pick my friend, but I mean, hindsight's 2020. Luckily, after this breakup, I went back to my best guy friend and apologized, and he 100% understood and said no hard feelings and that we'd have a fresh start. I'm so lucky. And what is a better way to have a fresh start than attending a big wedding together? And my best guy friend, he was beyond in on this plan. He knew the reason that we hadn't talked in a few years was because of how jealous and controlling my ex-boyfriend was. So he thought this would be the perfect opportunity to get back at him. So the day of the wedding comes and me and my best friend roll up in the most amazing color coordinated fit. His tie matched my dress, beautiful. And let me tell you, we walked in holding hands. The whole day he had his arm around me, kissing me on the cheek. We were looking super coupley, even though we are the farthest thing from a couple. And whenever my ex saw me and my best friend walk into the ceremony area together, his face turned bright red. He immediately began to storm towards us, but some of the guys in the wedding party had to hold him back so, he wouldn't cause a scene. During the whole ceremony, my ex kept turning around and staring daggers at me and my best guy friend. Like, your sister's getting married, okay? Like, turn around. Like, eyes up front, eyes up front. We were sitting towards the back, so right when the ceremony was over, we were able to rush right out into cocktail hour. And that is where everything got insane. After about 5 minutes of being there, we heard yelling. I turn and guess who I see? But my ex-boyfriend's best girlfriend. Girlie, what are you doing there? You weren't invited. Turns out that when he saw that I brought my best guy friend, he texted her and told her that she needed to get there immediately. Now, all the bridesmaids know that the bride is not a fan of this girl. So they're telling her that she needs to get out. My ex-boyfriend is screaming at them that this is his date and they have no right to talk to her that way. It is a whole mess. I'm loving it, honestly. I just wish that they were serving popcorn at the cocktail hour because it was a show for sure. That's when my ex-boyfriend locks eyes with me and starts making a beeline right for me and my best guy friend. I mean, like, it was funny seeing him be dramatic and overreact from a distance, but as he's coming towards me, I was not as funny anymore. And, you know, his little best girlfriend is following behind him like a little duckling, and he starts screaming. He's yelling. He's telling me how terrible I am. I don't know. Honestly, I just kind of zoned him out. Why do I care what this man has to say? I listened to this man's useless thoughts for years. Like, I'm not going to give any more time to that. So I'm just standing there nodding. No, you're right. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally. And he is flailing his hands so much when talking that he hits a waiter's platter and it goes up, spills red cocktail sauce all over him. His best little girlfriend tries to help him clean it up with some napkins, but he's so embarrassed that he just starts screaming at her, which makes her start crying. So he's screaming, she's crying. It's a mess. I mean, I'm just there eating my little shrimp cocktail. It was delicious. Okay, great. I would actually like to know who the caterer was because top tier. So what does he do? He storms out. He leaves his sister's wedding before the reception. Wild. Which I felt bad. I was like, did I do that? Is this my fault? But obviously, I had asked his sister if I could be petty and bring my guy best friend before the wedding. And she loved it. She said that it was time that her brother learned his lesson and was held accountable. So during the reception, when she came up to me and asked where her brother was, and I told her the story, she burst out laughing. This girl was laughing so hard she was in tears. And I was like, you're not upset that he's not here? And she was like, no, this is the best possible outcome. I am just so glad that he is getting what was coming to him. Now, since the wedding, my ex has been trying desperately to get me back. Showed up outside my window with a boombox. Like, okay, that's cute in a totally different context. When you do it, it's disgusting and cringy. As for my ex's sister, I'm going to her birthday dinner next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to be best friends for life. So at least I got something out of the relationship.